Okay, it is 7:32 p.m. and we're going to call this meeting of the Canada Day Committee to order. Our chair, Samir, is unable to attend and Councillor Guchardi is also unable to attend. So I will be chairing the meeting for everyone this evening. So we'll begin with the land acknowledgement. We would like to begin by respectfully acknowledging that the town of Shelburne resides within the traditional territory and ancestral lands of the Anishinaabe, including the Ojibwe, Potawatomi, Chippewa, and the people of the Three Fires Confederacy. These traditional territories upon which we live, work, play, and learn are steeped in rich Indigenous history and traditions. It is with this statement that we declare to honor and respect the past and present connection of Indigenous peoples with this land, its waterways, and resources. We encourage residents to review the call to action information by visiting the website dccrc.ca/educational links to further research and educate oneself. So thank you very much for being here this evening. Does anyone have any additions to the agenda? Okay, seeing none, could I get a mover to adopt the agenda as presented? Brian, and a seconder, Jaya, thank you. All in favor? That's carried, thank you. Okay, if there are any pecuniary interests, you can declare those now or when it comes up in conversation. Okay, so the next item on the agenda is the adoption of the minutes from Thursday, June 15th, that the minutes be adopted as presented. Did anyone have any comments in regard to those minutes, or is everyone happy with them? Okay, I'm seeing no hands, so could I get a mover to adopt the minutes from June 15th? Kyle, and a seconder? Jaya, and all in favor? That's carried, thank you. Okay, so new business. First item is discussions held during working session on June 22nd. So unfortunately, we were not able to get quorum for June 22nd, but because it was so close to the event, we did have a working session. So there's no formal minutes for that, but there was some information that was discussed at that meeting that needs to be confirmed by the committee tonight. So the first item that was discussed was the timing of the vendor market. There was some confusion with Keller Williams at first, if it was going to be 3 to 9 or 4 to 9. They decided to go 4 to 9. And so it was determined that would probably be best for the vendor market to also be 4 to 9 instead of 3 to 9. So it was advertised as 4 to 9, but I do need a motion that the vendor market be from 4:00 p.m. until 9:00 p.m. Would somebody be willing to make that motion? Kyle, and a seconder? Brian, is everyone in favor of that? That's carried. Thank you for that. Okay, the next item that was discussed on June 22nd, this was also provided to the committee via email from the chair, Samir, in regard to the Bhangra dance group. They're going to have children performing. They're also requesting space to put up a photo booth, and they would email photos to residents that use that photo booth. They're asking that the committee provide them space that they can offer samples of the dances so they can teach people if they're interested. And they are offering to promote our event on their social media in exchange for us promoting them as a sponsor on our social media. So does the committee want to make a motion to give them the space? Because they're providing entertainment, they're not wanting to pay the vendor fee for space. So it would be providing the entertainment and then therefore the committee giving them the space. Kyle?
Just a comment actually first. Yeah, I have no issue whatsoever in giving them the space. Recommendation, and we certainly need to communicate to them that I would not recommend that we have them dancing on the stage simply because there will be all kinds of wires and trip hazard and everything else. Perhaps have them plan to dance in front of the stage and make sure that we've got a space cleared for it.
Okay. Are there any other comments in regard to them? Okay, would someone like to make a motion? And is everybody okay with us featuring them on social media? We haven't really featured the other vendors on social media, so we just wanted to make sure that the committee was okay with that. Okay, so then could we get a mover and a seconder to approve the request from the Bhangra Dance Group to provide them space in front of the stage, to give them a space for their photo booth, and to share information on social media? Brian, you're willing to move that? Okay, and a seconder? Jaya, thank you. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Okay, and then the next item that was brought forward in that discussion, Kyle, maybe you could speak to this one. I think you were the one to bring it forward. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but it was water, jugs of water, and a pump. If you could just reiterate that for the committee, for those that are here tonight.
Yeah, it's just a recommendation. Every year, I've always gone out and got one of those 10-gallon jugs of water, or actually it's usually 2, but we don't need to go through both of them. It would be a very wise idea just to make sure that we've got water provided somewhere. Unfortunately, my brother-in-law is not going to be around, so he's usually where I get it from. If we're able to get it, we should. At least that's my personal opinion, but we would need to have committee approval to spend whatever it costs, $10, whatever it is, to buy one of the jugs. We would also need the pump. I believe we can get the hand pumps usually at most of those locations for another $10. So I'm assuming it's probably going to be about $20.
And then Jamie, correct me if I'm wrong, you and I had discussed this briefly, and you indicated that cups were available, so the committee did not need to purchase cups to provide with the water.
So it does seem that we have some boxes of old plastic beer cups for Canada Day, but those could definitely be used for water this time around. They're just stored in the Fiddle Park building.
So that would be great. So Kyle, are you making a motion then that staff be directed to purchase water and a pump for
Certainly.
Canada Day?
Certainly.
Okay.
And what I would recommend, if I can make an amendment to that as well, what I would recommend is that this will be, the pump itself should be staff owned or town owned, so that staff make sure that, or we make sure that staff gets that pump back, that we can reuse it later on.
Okay. And would someone be willing to second Kyle's motion to purchase water jugs and cups? Brian, okay. Sorry, not cups, pump. And is everyone in favor of that? That's carried. Thank you. Okay, for those that were at that June 22nd working session, those were all the notes that I had from that session. Can anyone recall anything that I am missing from that working session? Okay, that's great. Thank you very much. Okay, so the next item on the agenda is the update from the car show subcommittee. Owen is here for that. Owen, would you like to give us an update?
We've been keeping an eye on the weather since last Thursday, and knowing of this meeting coming up, I figured this would be a good cutoff of if there's rain on Saturday, then we would know. We would know from. I'm sorry, excuse me. We would know to make our decision then. And looking at, it's not slowing, it's not stopping. We have rain Friday night and all day. We have rain Friday during the day actually, and all day Saturday, and I don't think it'll work out because we'll destroy Fiddle Park thanks to running cars through it all the time, and I don't think a lot of the lowered cars and stuff like that are going to want to drive on marshland.
So is the committee then saying that effective today, they're canceling the car show portion of Canada Day? Or are you saying you're waiting until Saturday and you're going to call it on Saturday?
I'm saying effective today, I believe it would be best to cancel the car show.
Okay. And Amy and Kyle, you're on the car show subcommittee, correct?
Yes.
And you're both in agreement with that?
It's, I mean, it's unfortunate, but especially with these guys that have these very expensive cars, forewarning is far better than dropping it on the last minute.
Okay. Amy, did you have any comments in regard to that? Okay, thank you. Okay, so could we get a motion from the committee then to receive the information from the car show subcommittee that due to the weather, the car show is being canceled for July 1st? Could I get a mover for that, Kyle, and a seconder for that? Amy, thank you. And all in favor? Okay, that carried. So Owen, please thank Brennan and those that you have worked with. We really appreciate all that you have done. We're very sorry that it has come to this with the weather. We can't control the weather. We wish sometimes we could. And we really hope that you will work with the committee and come back next year, and that the weather will cooperate, that we can have the car show back again next year.
That's the hope.
Okay.
Fingers crossed.
Did you have anything else that you wanted to say to the committee?
Nothing really, no.
Okay.
I'd like to thank you for working with us this year, but like you said, we can't control the weather, so.
Okay, and Owen, the vendors that were going to come for the car show, will you make sure you contact them and make
They will
them
be
aware?
notified, yes.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. Okay, thanks, Owen.
Thank you.
Okay, so we don't have a representative from the Keller Williams Fund Zone right now, so we'll just move on from there. If they join, we'll come back to that section. So then the next item would be an update from the advertising subcommittee. The subcommittee was tasked with getting some signs approved and the authority to spend up to $500. Does someone on the subcommittee want to give an update?
I guess I'm the only one here, huh? We awarded Impact advertising the contract, and that's as far as I've heard so far. I haven't heard anything more. But I'm not sure if anyone else from the group has, on the committee there, has heard anything. I'm not sure. So that's all I can tell you.
Well,
Okay,
I was going to say I could probably fill in the missing blanks there. The signs have been approved. They've been put in production. I should be picking them up tomorrow. The recommendation that I had made was that to be more frugal, especially considering that we had very few sponsors, rather than having two corrugate signs and a banner, probably best to take the banner out of the bid and just live with the two corrugate signs with the H stands. So that's what we've done. That's what we've ordered, and I should be picking them up tomorrow.
Okay, great. Thank you, Kyle. Brian, can you make sure that the quotes that were gotten from the subcommittee for the signs are forwarded to me to include in the minutes, please? Okay. Perfect. Okay, so the next.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I think both quotes that were given were just over telephones. Like, I know that's what mine was. There's nothing on paper. Because
There was a paper one given from us.
Okay, was it from you, from Impact? But the Vista print one, I think, was just over the phone, and same with ADA lettering or whatever.
So Vistaprint, if you could like kind of resubmit it as if you were putting it online and just maybe take a screenshot then, please.
Sure.
That would be extremely helpful.
I can save time, Brian, unless I can send you the quote that I sent to.
Okay, perfect.
We
And
didn't talk about it over email, so we have like an email. We didn't have the actual quote. We just talked about the amount that was discussed.
okay. Perfect, thank you. Just, yeah, so just so that we have something in writing if it's ever questioned. Okay, that would be great. Okay, so the next item on the agenda is the timeline of volunteers for event and locations. So Samir had created an Excel spreadsheet, and I'm just going to pull it up. And bear with me just one moment. Okay, is everyone able to see that okay? Okay, so what he has indicated here is pre-event setup, parking space help, center stage, and that person ideally being the volunteer coordinator, vendor support, fun zone, car show, which we don't need now, fireworks vendor setup support, and a reserve volunteer. Jamie, the fireworks, they're doing all their own thing. They don't need support, correct?
From the last conversation with Pyro World, it was really just setting up that barricaded area and designating that. They hadn't indicated anything else that would be
Okay.
needed there.
Perfect. I will just take that off. So, Amy, we had spoken to you about being the volunteer coordinator that afternoon. Are you still okay with being that volunteer coordinator?
Yep, I can be there from like 3 to 6.
Okay,
My son is sick right now. Hopefully he's better by Saturday, but right now it's just a cold. But
Okay.
hopefully he's better by Saturday.
okay. And Kyle, you're under pre-event setup, correct?
Yeah, I'll do pre-event setups, and I'll probably be float as well. I mean, I can be there from. Actually, Len and I are probably going to be there like 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock in the morning. I've got to leave right around 6:30 or so, right after the opening ceremonies, probably.
Okay, so would you be able to help get the parking organized at the beginning as you were there previously and have an idea of what was going on with that?
Sure.
And Brian, what is your availability that day? Sorry, Brian, you're on mute.
I'm available all day and all night, whatever you need.
Okay, so could we put you down for parking as well at the beginning?
Sure.
Perfect. And Samir had indicated that he would be available as well all day, assuming his health is better. Kyle and Brian, do you think you're going to need more than 2 of you there since we don't have the car show now?
So
Yeah.
sorry,
Go ahead, Brian.
okay. Go ahead, Kyle.
I was just going to say the parking space help that he's got written down here was more. He and I had discussed this. That was more for the car show. I
Okay.
don't need this line here.
Okay, I will take that out, just so this way I can forward this back to him. I'm also going to put Len under pre-event setup. Okay. Jaya, what is your availability that day?
I can be there 3 to 6 around 3 to 6 also.
Okay, so the vendors are going to start setting up around 3. Would you be willing to be the support person for the vendors if they have questions? You can
Sure.
always ask Kyle and Len, and don't feel like you have to figure it out on your own.
For sure, definitely. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. And then Kyle, you indicated you got an email about a student. If you follow up with them, then you can contact Samir and you guys can work them into this. Maybe they can go to the fun zone or float around or, you know, fill in wherever they are.
Absolutely.
Okay, great. So, and Cheryl, you had indicated that you weren't available and that if you are available after, you can step in if you do show up. Thank you for that. I do appreciate that information. Yes, Amy.
Do we also have like student volunteers sign up? Like when I'm the volunteer coordinator, what volunteers am I coordinating? Like just us, or do we have other volunteers?
So we're still hoping, Len was going to reach back out to the school to see if we can get some. I have put a post out on, but sometimes we do get people showing up day of saying, I'd like to volunteer, I'd like to help. And that's where other members of the committee can say, go talk to that person. And just so we know who's volunteering, because we have to have contact information for who's volunteering, just so we know who's around. And then if someone says to you, hey, Amy, I need support here, then you can send them in that area.
Okay, so it's more like if people show up to volunteer the day of.
Yes. And if there's not that happening, you know, if you see another area where you can help out, that would be great.
Okay.
Okay. Did anyone have any other comments or questions in regards to volunteers and the timing of events?
So am I there all night by myself?
Len is also there till the end of the night.
All right.
Yes, Len is going to be there till the end of the night because he is doing the sound for the fireworks. So he will be there. And if Brian, at the end of the night, if there's any donations received, if you can give them to Len, and then Len will get them back to staff in the office on the Tuesday. So that way you don't have to be responsible for it. We'll make a counselor responsible for that.
Sure.
Okay. And Len has agreed that I can share his cell phone number with everybody on the committee. So I will be emailing everybody tomorrow with his cell phone. So if something happens or if something changes, he will be the contact person day of. Okay, so now I'm going to share, Jamie has been working crazily tonight, and she has already updated the outline for the location of items. So emergency services, Kyle, as discussed in the top corner, and that way if emergency services have to leave, they are free to do so. Okay, the Keller Williams zone, that is the area that they discussed with Jamie when they visited. Okay, this whole section is reserved for fireworks. The stage is there, and Jamie, those arrows mean the stage is pointing out this way, correct?
Correct, yeah.
Okay, perfect. And then the vendor area can be here. So as far as vendors go, we do have a food truck. We have Blitzville Treats, the food truck. I am not sure, Finiti, she said she's going to be serving food. So I would suggest putting Finiti close to the truck, as they're kind of both serving hot and cold food. And then the butter tarts is the other vendor, so they can go and then the plowing match, which is coming to Dufferin County in September, is going to have an information booth. Their booth was donated to them by RLB. And then the other one is the dog agility with Happy Paws. Now, Happy Paws has indicated that if it is raining, they will be unable to run the agility course, as it's a safety issue for the dogs. So she will make that decision day of, and I will provide her with Len's contact number so she can let somebody know if she's not going to come that day. Okay, Did anyone have any questions in regards to the locations? Yes, Brian.
So if you can go back to the map of the Fiddle Park.
Yep, give me 1 second, I'll put it back up.
So
Okay.
last year, the fireworks area wasn't that large, and we actually had to park cars over there because we were so full of cars. So is that a problem? Like, I don't,
This
like-
was the size space that the vendor for the fireworks required from us this year. It is a different vendor this year. This is the size space that they required when they met on site with staff. So, you know, if the parking within the park is full, then we'll have to tell people that they have to park off-site and walk in.
Alice, the fireworks area, is Public Works gonna fence all of that off for us so we know where the parking can go to?
Yep, and Jamie actually sent me some photos. Let's see if I can get it here.
And while you're just grabbing those, Alice, so from this photo, you can see the area that is barricaded for Keller Williams. I think I have a closer one of the parking, but I believe I took the pictures really quick, but the parking should just be the barricades where, you know, if you needed to extend out a little bit further to that kind of final fireworks section, because there was some room between where the public parking was and where they wanted it blocked off, you could do that. If you're seeing that you need even more of an overflow, it might just require kind of moving some barricades there, but it was quite a big space for parking cars as long as someone's kind of managing and assisting with folks so they're not just taking up all the room that they want. You should be able to fit a number of vehicles there.
And there you can see they've got barricades set up already. So staff was trying to be proactive. Yes, Brian.
so last year we had so many people parked on the side of the road. Is there anything we can do on the shoulders, like pylons? I know it's not the town of Shelburne, so can the bylaw officer sit up there and ticket people? Like, I don't know.
No, the bylaw officers cannot ticket on a non-Shelburne road. That doesn't
In
say
addition,
the police can't.
In addition, if we wanted a road occupancy permit, we would have had to apply with the county, which I do not have time for.
I'm just concerned that there's not gonna be a lot of parking, so maybe if someone knows, they can reach out to KTH or something, maybe they allow us to use their parking lot. I don't have a contact in KTH, so. Like, we had everyone jammed in there pretty good last year.
Well, and because the car show is not going to be there if it's dry enough, like people can park where the car show was going to be. Like there will be that space as well. And yeah, unfortunately, it will have to be a first come, first served event for parking. Okay, Amy, I saw your hand as well.
My question wasn't really relating to the layout. It was about so for vendors, we aren't providing them with anything other than just the space, right? They provide their own like tables, chairs, tents, like all of that stuff.
That is correct.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
Okay, did anyone else have any other questions related to that? Okay, so the next item on the agenda was the budget update. And I had put this on there just so the committee could see what has come in as far as sponsors, what has come in as far as vendor fees, and So just so that the committee, you know, it'll clearly need to be updated again after the event, but this was just to give you a guideline as to where you were at this point. Okay, did anyone have any questions or comments relating to the budget? Okay, so I did bring up the vendors so you know who the vendors are. We are still getting requests for questions from people who want to be vendors, but seeing as they have to get insurance, it would be difficult to get new vendors at this point prior to Saturday. But if people reach out and they can get the insurance lined up by tomorrow afternoon, is the committee okay with me still accepting vendors? I'm seeing nods. Okay, that's great. Thank you. Okay, so just two things to note for the committee, especially for those doing parking. If anyone pulls up and they have a camper trailer on the back or an RV, or it appears that they're going to be camping, camping is not permitted on Fiddle Park during the Canada Day events. So anyone with a camper or trailer or anything like that needs to be turned away. There's no parking for them during the event, especially with the fact that we do have limited parking. If they give you an issue about that, please contact the OPP. Okay. And just for your knowledge, 10 of Tarts, the butter tarts, asked permission to park their vehicle, which has advertising on it, behind their booth. They don't want it as part of their booth, but they want it behind their booth. And I indicated that I didn't believe that the committee would have a problem with that. Okay, and then so for the donation buckets, I'm just going to get the kitchen catcher garbage buckets that the town has. They're brand new, so don't worry that you're going to get kitchen garbage in them. They're brand new. I will make sure that there are 4 of those, and Jamie has vests and things available at the office for the members on the committee. So you're clearly identified by people there. We have 8 vests plus the pink one for Kyle, who wanted it at the beginning, and then for Amy later to stand out. Okay, does anybody have any other questions or comments relating to this event on Saturday? Kyle.
Just wanting to, I know that you guys are very diligent, so I'm sure Jamie and you both have this all organized, the waste receptacles and Public Works coming around to check on them. Is that all organized and taken care of, I'm assuming?
Correct. So there should be about 3 staff members on site throughout the day. I think we've actually got one more as well. So 3 to 4 Public Works staff. We have the picnic tables out. There's about 26 picnic tables, about 14 under the pavilion and the rest outside of it. Those are out as of this afternoon, so those are ready. Garbage cans will be out. So I think that should be good. I did hand off keys to Councillor Gashardi today for the Fiddle Park building. Kind of similar to last year. Last year we didn't open the building or the concession stand, so while I was on site, it really remained locked. But if the committee needs or volunteers need a break or for first aid, or the AED will be held in there, Mr. Gashardi has the keys, so he can provide access. So can probably the Public Works team if you need. Washrooms will be open from the exterior for the public there. And then with Councillor Gashardi today, we got together the mics and the stands that need to go down, and those will be delivered tomorrow. I'll have that handed off to the Public Works team to put in the stage trailer there.
Excellent.
Okay, and Amy, I saw your hand, and then I'll come to you next, Brian.
I was just wondering about the vendors. I know you had in the map, you had a spot blocked off. Are they like along the road, or are they spread out along like in the grass area?
Yep.
I just threw vendor area there. Really, kind of day of, the committee can kind of see. It might make sense to kind of line them up along the road leading to the pavilion, kind of wherever the committee seats fit. I just opened that up. That's where the car show was headed. So whatever works best.
And I do recall Finiti, that vendor had requested that if power was available, if they could be near a power site, they would appreciate it. So not sure what's there, but just put that bug in your ear. I told her probably not. Don't count on it.
Now, the pavilion does have electrical ports all the way around it, from kind of the outside where it's open, those posts. So if she's close enough and has an extension cord and something to cover it so it's safe, it should be okay.
Honestly, I think we should avoid that. In the past, we have not provided any electricity for any vendors, and I'd be afraid of setting a precedent here.
Yeah, so I did indicate not to, but it's more me informing you in case she brings it up that day. Okay. Is that everything, Amy? Okay, thank you. Brian?
My question was, I'm not sure if we need to know, is there any members of the board that are going to be there that have first aid training, just so if the ambulance services or something were not there on site, who can we go to? Is anyone certified as a first responder, or like I am, but
I'm out of date actually, but I do have training. I do need to get it redone again though.
like I just didn't know if we should have, so everyone knows if something does happen, who to go find if there's no emergency services on site.
So if you're certified, Brian, is that you volunteering?
Well, I'd like help if I don't want to be there by myself doing it all, but I have no problem doing that.
So what, maybe Amy, if you are getting other adult volunteers showing up, that might be something you could just ask them. And you could just notify the other committee members that are present, hey, FYI, this person also has their first aid. Or Brian, even if it's not a volunteer, if there's someone else at the event and you know that they are also, we have volunteer firefighters in town. If you see volunteer firefighters at the event, maybe approach one of them and ask if they'd be willing to be on standby for that.
Well, if the fire trucks aren't there, I'm assuming they're out on a call, so I assume the firemen will be.
So, okay, that's great. Did you have any other comments, Brian, or was that good?
There's a first aid box in the pavilion, or in the the thingy.
Yeah. Yes.
and the
Where
AED
Jamie
box.
gave Len the keys.
Yeah.
Okay. Giant, did you have any comments or questions prior to Saturday?
Not at all. Just regarding the vendors, like you mentioned, the food ones would be like close to one another. Oh, like because I'll be there to support the vendors. Am I supposed to let them know about it, or?
Yeah, just kind of direct them to that area, make sure that there's enough space between them. Knowing that we have the 5 different vendors coming, we kind of want to keep the dogs away from the food. That would be my thought, would be, dogs separated from the food. They don't all have to be in a line or whatever, but just that the general area where they're going, so that when they come, you can help direct them to there.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Amy.
Sorry, I have one more question. So I have the tent for RLB for the plow match. I have that with me now. Am I all right to bring that and set that up kind of around like 11 or 12, or is that kind of too early for that?
From my understanding from conversations with Len, he will be there at that point. Public Works staff will be setting up already at that point. So, yeah.
Because that would be better for me, just in case I can't get there right for 3. It'd be easier if I can get it all set up and ready to go. So maybe I'll touch base with Len, like when I get there, to help me, because I'll probably need someone to help me with the tent because it's pretty big.
Okay. Cheryl, did you have any questions or comments relating to the event on Saturday, knowing?
No, I'm sorry. I just feel bad that I have these two weddings I have to officiate, and I did reach out to a couple of 2 or 3 food trucks, and I thought they were gonna like join in, but obviously they didn't. So
No, we appreciate what reaching out, and like we said from the very beginning, we anticipated that this year would be a bit smaller as far as items at Fiddle Park due to the shortness of the committee getting established to the day of the event. But that's, we understood that, we knew that going in. Hopefully the public will understand and respect that as well. Okay, so just a couple of quick announcements, and just a reminder that next week we are going to have a meeting on Thursday that is going to kind of be a quick, hopefully quick, but just a rundown of the event, what worked well, what didn't work well, while we can make notes, while it's fresh on everybody's mind. And then we will not have a meeting again until September. Okay, so we just really appreciate how much you've put into this for the last couple of months, and we're just going to take a break for the summer, relax after next week, Thursday's meeting, but we do want to debrief while it's still fresh in everybody's mind. So yes, there is a meeting next week. And then the other thing that I wanted to mention is council received the Parks and Recreation Master Plan, as well as the Fiddle Park draft plan for the future of Fiddle Park. And there are boards set up at Town Hall with some of that information. The council meeting is recorded and is on the town's YouTube page. Both plans are in the agenda for Monday night. I do encourage you to take the time to review that. A comments page will be set up on the town website. Comments will be available to be made at Town Hall, but please do review that because council is looking for feedback. We won't be able to give feedback from the committee as a whole because of the timing of when feedback is required and not meeting over the summer, but we do appreciate your individual feedback. And you can even put in there that you are a member of the Canada Day Committee. It's going to potentially look like a very different Fiddle Park from what it is now. So please take a look at that and please give your comments when you can. Okay, so those were all the announcements that I had. Did anybody have any other new business that needed to be discussed? Yes, Brian.
I was just at the dog park last night type of thing, and there's quite a few cars parked underneath the pavilion. I'm not sure if anyone's been in there today or anything like that to see if there was any graffiti written up or all over the walls. I'm not sure. Maybe if Jamie was out there today, maybe she looked. I'm not sure.
I did a quick peek inside the pavilion. There was no cars in there. I have seen them throughout site visits. Sometimes people drive in there and they're sitting in there. I didn't notice any vandalism that had been done, and nothing that I heard from the Public Works team today. And they should be out there again tomorrow, just doing the remainder of the barricading and garbage cans and kind of final wrap up pieces before the event. So it can be on their radar to just take a quick peek.
If there is anything, Jamie, I have stuff at the shop that will take it off. I'm not sure if you guys have that or not, but.
And we do
Yeah,
have bylaw. Yeah.
Sorry,
we'll
no,
get
I was just gonna say
bylaw.
we do have lots of graffiti removal. Unfortunately, we see it from time to time.
Yeah, and we have bylaw on staff until later in the evening tomorrow evening. So we'll just make sure that they patrol through there as well. Thanks, Brian.
I was just more concerned about what's being posted on Facebook, that maybe something we put in there.
Yeah, we'll continue monitoring it. Thank you. Okay, if nobody else has any new business, then we are at number 5. And could I get a mover and a seconder to adjourn the meeting? Oh, nobody wants to adjourn. Oh, okay. Amy and Brian. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you very much, everyone, and looking forward to seeing how things go on Saturday. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to email me during the day tomorrow. Otherwise, Len will be the contact on Saturday. Thanks very much and have a good night.
Thank you.
Have a great long weekend, folks. Happy Canada Day.
Thank you, you too.